Okay.
So she said that she would like to hook this up to it.
Yeah? Okay. I just need the youthfulness here all the time. Honestly, I just said to her, I said, you talk about a millennial and a baby boomer working together and how amazing we work together.
Oh yeah. You're both are doing good at things that the other has no possibility of doing.
Oh, yeah, like who would think of that, right? The age difference doesn't need to matter because age is something man-made. Time is it's all man-made.
Well, but it does represent a different set of experiences. So I think it does have some merit.
No, you're right, it does. But how you can bring the youthfulness and the wisdom together to say, hey, living life and going through the experiences, good, bad, ugly, whatever they be, is what makes you who you are, right? Does want to go in? You got it? Oh, she might have this. She's persistent. She's a 6 in the Enneagram with a 7 wing.
Uh-oh.
And I'm the 7 with the 8 wing. So that's we really have the 7 in common.
You're a bird. You guys are a big bird.
Too funny. While she's trying to get this all going, I was just going to mention, I watched that video you sent me some time ago with you and Laurie doing the intergroup map. It was fantastic, but it was hilarious how she just tried to take over facilitating. Your patience. I loved it, Elijah. You're just sitting there yelling, yeah. Am I facilitating or are you? And it was just, you guys, I got such a kick out of you, but it was cool to see her live, right?
Yeah.
Elijah, can I read you something really quick? I got to get my phone.
Sure. Hi, Kailee.
Okay, you got it?
If I can get this.
Hey, you're awesome. Yeah.
How do you like my boudoir?
It is fabulous. Now, where are you now?
I'm in Saudi Arabia. I have been picked up by the sheikh.
That is so cool. Wow.
I'm joking with you.
I know you are, but that's really cool.
But one day I feel I could be anywhere on the planet. Everyone will be wanting old Captain Sweet just to help him out.
That's a really good idea instead of the same old boring stuff. So I did a reading, like April Fisick is a Reiki master, but she's back in Ontario now. She lived in Yorkton for a while. So she did a Reiki and a distant Reiki / she's got mediumship as well. I just have to read this to you. It says, LA is around you. This was done on May 25th. LA is around you. She is apologizing for how things ended between the two of you. She said that she always respected you and your vision, and she is very upset that she lost sight of that. She's very proud of where you have come in the last 11 years since you both started working together. She's very happy that your vision is taking people into the next phase of evolution. She says that you will change lives. She thanks you for all the help that you gave her and Jasper over all those years. And she says that your new business will be very successful. Isn't that something how she showed up in this reading?
Wow. Wow.
Wow is right. So that was really good for me to hear, Elijah.
Yeah, a little bit of closure on the healing.
Yes, closure on healing for me, exactly.
And acknowledgement that something went wrong.
Yeah, and acknowledgement.
I think that is the one huge lacking currency for humans is acknowledgement. It's what we crave and what we don't get. It's like we know something's occurring, but the other won't acknowledge it, and so it doesn't exist. But all they have to do is just acknowledge, and then we can deal with it. But if you don't think there's a problem, then you can't deal with it.
Yeah. Acknowledge it. And you're right. And they even stress, what do they say? Stress is unmet needs. That's what stress is. And if we're able to tell people or explain to people what our unmet needs are, sometimes people don't know Elijah. They don't have a clue.
For sure. Okay, so what's your unmet need in this moment, and how are we going to use this session? What's the goal?
Okay, so I just want to say we spent the morning, and I started telling you, but it was on mute. We spent the morning with Sylvia and her daughter April. Remember April and Lindsay?
Yep.
Okay, so April does funnels and different things like that in the marketing world. So she came down to explain to us exactly what a funnel was, how it works, and yada yada. But it was cool talking because we've got all the cards. I'm just going to show you. Kailee set these up on the
Okay. Awesome.
group cards. So yesterday, though, she packed them all up in the learning center on the wall in there. So April's looking at it, and she could catch on to some of the stuff we were talking about.
Well,
Even
she has a card set, doesn't she?
She has a card set. Her and her sister both have card sets, like holy Yorkton people. And so anyway, just sitting with her again and explaining to her. So I just want to give you a little rundown. We're creating the loft upstairs, and this will get a little bit too much, Elijah, but we're doing the loft upstairs, and the loft is going to funnel through, and I'll let you explain the loft. Okay, so you start explaining.
So the LOFT stands for Life Opportunities for Thriving. So, you know, I'm a competitive curler aspiring to go to represent Canada at the Olympics, but I get really bad performance anxiety, and I'll have a major anxiety attack on the ice. So I was working with Laurie, and together we kind of built this program that helped me with my performance anxiety. Well, it worked so well for me that I wanted to share with other athletes, and we could adapt it a little bit, help business people, adapt it a little bit more, turn it for people who are just looking to grow.
Okay, sorry, the loft was life, what was that again?
Life Opportunities for Thriving.
Love it, okay.
So it's
Okay.
upstairs? Yeah.
Okay, and so you've already you did the program once, you haven't quite templated it, it worked, and now you want to template it.
Basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's looking to template that system. And then what I'm looking at is I'll do stuff through the loft if needed and when needed for what I want to present. But I am still in my business for 2 more years, Elijah.
Okay.
And what I want to do over the next 2 years is, I know I'm a financial planner and stuff, but I really want to focus on cash flow planning and values mapping.
Oh, lovely, okay.
So I'm going to, because I believe, and when we think of Maslow's hierarchy, right? The people at the bottom of that triangle, they're just in survival.
Yeah.
So if we're up here on the triangle, let's just say up closer on the top, what good is that with us just climbing to the next level without coming here and lifting those people up? So in the financial world, perfect example, couldn't get any money from a bank to start a company in 1994. Went finally to Canada Trust and got a line of credit for $10,000 to start this company. 25 years later, I sold a piece of it 3 years ago. I'll sell another piece of it over these next 2 years for the rest of it. But I'm still going to have the LR Future name because they're only buying the book, right?
Okay.
And I'm going to work in it. But I'm really going to utilize this next 24 months to really hone in on my cash flow planning, which is a program that's already kind of created as far as keeping track of money spent, money coming in. But I want to bring in the value system into that.
Excellent.
So did you talk to Kevin yet from Cash Flow?
I did. I talked to him yesterday.
He is so awesome. I'm showing him this so he understands where I'm coming from because he's training me more on their software right now. But that took so much off my plate, Elijah, because I used to give people paper and they had to write it down and then we'd review it. Now it's all a system and it's an app called Winton.
Okay.
So you keep track of what's coming in, what's going out, and your assets.
Awesome.
And I can go on Winton, on their Winton and on their portfolio anytime and look what they've added in.
Okay, perfect.
Then I become more of a coach.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so if we're looking at life opportunities for thriving, you're going to have, let's say, contractors within the learning center to be offering things. So Laurie's an example of that. And you're looking at, I guess, heading up you're like a program manager for the learning center, organizing everyone under this opportunities for thriving. Is that right?
Does that make sense for you? Or where do you feel you?
I think it's the other way around. So like I'll have the loft, I'll build my program, but then I'll funnel through the learning center to get my business out.
Yeah, so the Life Matters Learning Center will still be there because we know that's going to be the hub for
Okay.
all of this magic, Elijah, that you're teaching us.
Okay, so then, okay, let me get this straight then. Then the loft is basically, Kailee, what you want to offer as a program to the world.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that's your baby in a sense.
Yeah.
Your Laurie has her own baby, but
Yeah.
you're both going to use the inflow matrix to structure your programs, and then both of those are going to be Life Matters, and then you're the models for everyone else to follow.
Right. Yes. Oh my gosh, I told you he'd understand. She goes, what are we doing today? I go, let's explain to Elijah. He'll tell us. That's exactly, we want to be the model. Oh.
Okay, so then if you look at your synergy map,
Mhm.
and what we're doing is we're at the creativity to
Yeah.
develop your products, but we're looking at 7, how you deliver the services.
Yeah.
So we're looking at 5-7 relationship and looking to template it so you can do it for yourselves. You can understand how each is doing it because you can help each other along the way.
Yeah.
And then, because it's much easier to see something, 2 of them rather than 1, because 1 is by itself, you don't even know what it is, but now you see the differences between, and then you can see what structures that you're similar, and then both of you can then act as contractors within Life
Mhm.
Matters to train people to go through this system, so you're getting paid for that, but you're also getting paid to do your program.
Oh my goodness. That totally makes sense. We're the contractors, and we're going to set the example and the template for all the other people coming in. We take them through the process. We get paid for it. Awesome.
Okay, so then, I mean, we can do it 2 ways. I mean, you can kind of tell me what you did, Kailee, through Laurie. What was the structure that you did participate in? We can look at that first, and then I can see what you've done, what you're missing, or I can just sort of give you a download from what I understand right now, and we can see how your stuff fits into that. So what would you rather do?
Which one do you think is better? I'm good with either.
Well, I think it's better for me to hear what you've done.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree.
So we started out, this was probably like 3 years ago we started this-ish. We started with the hedgehog, which is basically this little inner circle. And these are all of the things that in my life that matter to me. And the outside of the circle is everything was going on. And I crossed off all the stuff that doesn't serve me anymore.
Okay.
And
That
then
was step 1, kind of?
that was kind of step 1. I think that's what we started with.
Okay.
And
Good
then
one.
I should really grab my file. And then we did the Enneagram. So I did the test and we did lots of work as a 6. How do I fit in that role? Like, why do I have so much performance anxiety? It's because I'm 6, right in the center of the head.
Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna grab my laptop.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Everything on there.
Yeah. So what I did is so she's 19. She started when she was 16, and she got to me through a woman that does debt management out of Regina. She works for a company. If people are getting into financial distress, they go to her, and I've had a link together for years. She just rented a space in my office, and she will set people up to either do bankruptcy, and the other one where you can just get forgiven some debt. And she has got such a heart for how people need to learn this stuff. And what amazed me with her, Elijah, she works with people that are kind of poor, but she works with judges. She's working with people that make a ton of money, and yet they're in a receivership mode. So then we started building a relationship, and then Kailee got introduced to a team out of Regina to curl with, and who was the skip was this woman's daughter. So that's how the 2 of us linked together. Since then, Kailee got into grade 12. They do an entrepreneurship class, and I was asked to speak at it. So I got to go there and speak to this group of kids, and then they asked me each year now for 3 years. I've been a judge for listening to their business presentations.
Awesome.
So that's kind of how we linked in. But when
Okay.
she came to me as a 6, being the center of the head center in the Enneagram, it's like anxiety, holy shit. How do we work with that? So she was teaching me as I was going through my material to figure out how I could work with her. So I didn't have a total streamline. She was kind of a practice.
Yeah.
We picked values cards. We did quite a few different things. Now
Got
you can finish.
So we did like the hedgehog map, which was like the inner you, the outer you. Eventually this November, Laurie finally convinced me to do a vision board map because I was very skeptical.
Was the vision board before the Enneagram or after the Enneagram?
After the Enneagram.
Okay. Was it, and there's some steps in between? Tell me, like, go step by step. Like, what happened after the Enneagram?
Yeah, so we did the hedgehog. That's where we started because it's non-threatening.
Okay.
Oh, good job.
No.
September of 18.
I guess we also kind of talked about goals that I have in my life. How am I going to achieve them? How do I get the next level? Laurie told me that I say that I'm going to quit curling a lot. But Laurie, one of the first things Laurie taught me was that the frustration I'm feeling is fuel, and let this fuel guide me to where I'm going to go.
Nice.
Because we don't go in a straight line like this. We have all these little stairs, and I'll like go one way and then, oh, just kidding, that's a roadblock. How do I get over it? And then it's going to take me like, I think last year I did quit curling, and I said, this is what I'm going to try and do. And so that's the path that I went on, but then I got taken right back to curling. So I was like, oh, okay.
Just a quick, I'm just going to insert a few things as you go. If you bring out your flow map, Laurie.
I have what?
Bring out your flow map.
Oh, do you have a flow map here, or do you have to run next door?
Everything's next
We've
door.
got somebody using the learning center right now, and all our stuff is in the office there.
Okay, I would just say on the flow map at 7 is paths and blocks.
Yes.
So that's
Yeah.
also at the synergy level, it's your services, and at the time level, it's minute to minute. So basically what you're telling me, and this is with your clients, is they're either on the right path or they're blocked. It's very simple.
Right.
And so at 8, at the present moment, you have strategy and flow. And what the main things, you want to be in the flow, right? You're not even thinking about the path. But as soon as you go to 7, it's minute to minute. And now you're able to see, like you're either going forward or you're blocked. And so the coach, you're there to help remove the blocks, help them see the block, do the healing, whatever it takes to get the person back on the path.
And Laurie, he got me back into doing body talk with this Jenna, who is on our call.
Okay.
Started going back to body talk with her, and we worked a lot. She said my mind is like consciously, I want to go forward, I want to achieve my dream, but then there's something subconsciously that's stepping on the brake pedal. I don't want to go forward. Why?
Yeah.
What is subconsciously holding me back? And that's where I learned that my great grandfather on my dad's side had a fear of failure, and this fear of failure for him equal death. So then
Holy shit.
equal death.
That's like generational trauma you're healing. Yeah.
And it is legit. In my psychology class, we learned about how these beliefs can be hereditary.
For sure.
Ancestors.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm getting your 3rd after Enneagram was goal setting, and then sort of block removal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what came after that?
What did?
Then the vision map.
Oh, vision map.
Then the vision map?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we did points of view mean much to you, and you did the points of view training? Like I do a process that I did in Costa Rica called points of view, and it's cards, but they're like this, and they've got a picture and a word on them. Remember, Elijah, I was telling you, and it's gets you to both sides of the brain.
Okay.
And we did a workshop one night, and Kailee, she came to it, but she was the young person there, but it doesn't matter. There were people that came out of that training that all of a sudden they're in Star Search Award playing guitar and singing. And they'd never done that before. Maybe behind the scenes they did as a type 4.
Oh my
So
God.
stuff came out in there that you can share.
I guess the only thing I remember from the points of view training was the card that I pulled at the points of view training was goals. And I talked about how my
Okay,
number
sorry,
one.
I didn't quite hear that sentence. Say that again.
So at the point of view training, we have to pull cards, and the cards we had to like tell a story and how it connects to your life. I pulled the word goals. That was my card.
Okay.
They're totally random because
It
they're
was-
all face down on a table.
It was
Okay.
actually super funny. I remember looking, Laurie had like these rocks on it. I looked at the rock goals, I pulled my card, and that's what I pulled.
Okay. Okay, awesome. Okay, so that was a biggie. Then after that?
So she attended points of view. Then where did it go?
After that, no, the vision board was after points of view.
Okay. So it was points of view, then the vision board.
Okay, I'll switch that.
And then I moved away to university in Saskatoon. And then we didn't really do anything until the vision board. And then I guess after the vision board, we did my intentions maps.
I feel setting an intention, and that was the map you did with Elijah, or did
Yeah.
we did one?
We did a practice one.
Yeah. We
Okay,
did a practice one.
okay, okay.
That's kind of
And
what
then, and so then you basically started the course with me, or you're going deeper with Laurie,
a little bit of both.
bit of both. So you're kind of, okay,
She was my practice on the one-on-one, you know, the sacred in the center, the one-on-one.
yeah.
She was my practice that I did it with, and that kid caught on just like that.
Okay, so basically she did the 5 communication spaces,
Yeah, she did.
and that kind of is taking things a little bit deeper, because then we did the flow map with me.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
And then I guess there's also, I did an angel card reading. And then I've been doing Reiki.
Okay. So, I mean, I think one thing I can say, if you just want a little feedback quickly, is, you know, you've experienced a potpourri, right? It's not some, you know, Laurie's got this, okay, I've got this hard and tried system, and we're going through this process, and I know exactly what we're doing each time, but each time was kind of like staggered times. It happened when it happened. It kind of like the best next step appeared. And so that's different than structuring a process from the get-go where you know all the pieces and you're taking people through the same thing, right? And if you're doing anything once, that's way, you've never done it before. So now you can reverse engineer and kind of go, okay, well, what happened? And so for me, I don't have it. Laurie, have we gone through the 7-step pulse model?
No,
Nothing. Okay.
no. I know. I just go, holy, I'm getting goosebumps right now just as the talking is
Okay,
going on.
okay, so this is right. Sort of draw 7 circles in a row.
7 circles in a row?
7 circles, like you can number them 1 to 7.
Yeah.
And we may at any time lose the recording here, but I'll bring you back in. The same link works.
Okay.
Okay, just so you know.
Yeah.
And so this okay. And again, where's Kailee? Because she should get this. Where?
I just ran to get a paper.
Okay.
What do you call it? The 7-step
7-step pulse model.
pulse model?
Pulse. P-U-L-S-E.
Wow. Elijah, you just freaking amaze me with this stuff, because a pulse, let's check your pulse and see where you are.
And it's not just that, it's like you're creating a pulse. You're kind of like,
Oh,
you're bringing them to a higher energy state, and then you're sort of bring them down. So it's like people come off the street, right? They're in their own world, they're in their mind. You have to take them through a process to take them somewhere, and then you have to sort of get them ready to go back on the street. So
right.
this model you can use for structuring, let's say 7 events in a row, 7 courses in a row. You can structure an event or a course to be these parts. So each, you're always getting this pulse, and you're bringing people always through the same idea. And so the beginning and the end are pretty much equal, right? Like, so Kailee, you 7 circles, label 1 to 7. So number 1 is the start.
The start?
And number 7 is the finish. I mean, this is basics, right? No matter what, you're gonna have a start, you're gonna have a finish. So you have to actually distinguish them, so you know, okay, the start's a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, like
Right.
whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now the number 2 is the setup,
Set up.
because number 4 is the crescendo. Number 4 is your big thing that you really want to have happen with them.
Oh, okay.
But you can't really have a crescendo without a setup, because you're aiming somewhere, but you've got to get pieces in a row. You've got to set things up in somebody's mind
Mhm.
and sort of create that safe environment for them to be ready for taking them somewhere. And then
Right.
at 3, you have the build-up. So the build-up is just the natural consequence of the relationship between the setup and the crescendo. That you have. I mean, in music, it's kind of like the song may start, or the DJ starts a party and they start, and they kind of like they're setting it up with a slower thing, and then they're later in the night they want to peak with this killer hour. Wah! But you can't just jump into that right away. You got to
Right.
build people up into that to get ready for it.
Hmm.
So you have the same attitude around sort of teaching. So then once you've built them up to this thing, you have to ease them out. You just can't yank them out.
Mhm.
And in between each of these steps is a transition. So there's actually 13 steps, but the 6 transitions are sort of unwritten and depends on how far you want to go into your facilitation, because this is the master facilitation process. So this is at 7. So at path and 7, this is a big thing in the inflow matrix. Every like 5 products breaks down into 5 parts. Always. You don't do 4, you don't do 3, you don't do 7.
Oh.
So this is a big thing. So at path you have 7. At strategies you have 8.
Yep.
At jobs you have 3. At activities you have 4. So that means when you layer your models, because there's so many different models and maps we're using, that they fit, because you're always using the same number.
Now you understand how it all fits in. Oh, wow. Okay.
Now, do you get it? I've been trying to tell you for years. Do you get it?
Oh, my
Laurie's been
God.
doing this for 10 years. I've been doing this for a month.
Well, Laurie hasn't had a lot of training in this too.
No, I haven't.
So I mean, she's been sort of going on a few maps that she got, but she wasn't getting much info from the source. So
No, I wasn't, Elijah. Now, is it ever coming to me like crazy? And I think with what I've built up so far on how I want to go out to the world, now I'm seeing how it's all coming to fit together.
yeah, because you've got you went out trained, you got so many different pieces and parts,
Yeah.
and now it's kind of like, okay, how do you custom design it for your particular customers, right?
Yeah.
So then at number 6, we have connect and unify, and that's kind of like you've taken them somewhere, and you sort of need to integrate the part that you're giving them into the rest of the stuff somehow.
Mhm.
So you're just connecting, unifying in the mind, or maybe some like a little like warm exercise, connect with them personally. Everyone is looking for connection these days.
Yeah.
And one of the main things that has to happen is integration. You have to integrate your products, your programs, everything, so people see how it fits in the whole. So the inflow matrix is, again, a whole thinking system.
Yeah.
It's a way of structuring all the parts together so it all fits together, so you can start to understand kind of like how to design and format your schedule, your life, your mind, your file folders, everything. Okay, so then what we're looking at is each of you has a program. Like what I did is, I don't know if you see this, so the start was the hedgehog, the setup was the Enneagram, the buildup was the goals and block removal, your crescendo was the point of view, your ease out was the vision board, your connect and unify were the intention maps, and then the finish was like the 5 communication spaces.
Oh.
So then you just, this is just a rough, it may or may not be that way, but this is the beginning of you going, okay, well, if I want to duplicate this program, what you're doing is you're looking at the pieces that you had, and then go, okay, well, what part of that piece do I have to share with people? Because you may not have to give the whole point of view workshop. You just have to take them through that particular piece.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at, okay, well, I got to look at my documentation. I got to streamline it. I got to put together the program in a way that, here's the piece of paper, here's your hedgehog map, here's the Enneagram map, you're building your manual. So essentially you need like three ring binders. And I would suggest to sort of divide them between those 7 parts. And then you start to look at, as a facilitator, you may have, again, I said you could have a personal space program, you could have a one-on-one space program, group space, community space, sacred space programs. So Kailee, you could have 5 different programs, one for the individual, one for the couple, one for the groups, one for the larger community, and one some sort of, sacred ritual if you did. I don't know, I kind of tend to stay away from that.
Yeah.
Because people get a little spooked, especially if they're Christian,
They do.
So, just be aware, I guess, like symbols like the Enneagram can appear like a cult thing to Christian.
Yeah.
Anything outside of the worldview. And it's not like, I know that the Enneagram actually has a very strong tradition, I think within the Gnostics or the Jesuits, and that a lot of Christian mythology has been mapped on the Enneagram in a very powerful way. So I don't think, in reality, the Enneagram is just a mathematical symbol, that represents laws of the universe. I mean,
Exactly.
it's not anything, too, but again, like, I think humans, because of the past, look at weird symbols and they think they're satanic.
Yeah.
And so,
Isn't that the truth?
yeah. Okay, so Laurie, do you just want to maybe jump over to you and go into your particular program, and we can kind of do the same thing and then see what you got?
So what I want to do is I want to really focus for the next 24 months, 18 months, my cash flow planning.
Okay.
So I do what's called the discovery process, Elijah, and what it does is cash flow planning. Now that they've really evolved in their organization, I have all the software behind the scenes there where people can money in, money out, what's your net worth, what do you own, what's your assets, what's your liabilities. Before I used to we were trying to create our own. Now I'm going, oh my God, these guys have it.
Sorry.
Now I can guide people. So when you go around my 9 steps called the discovery process,
Okay.
cash flow planning becomes 1, 2, and 3. So 1 is accounting. How well do you keep track of your money? 2 is spending. How in tune are you to your spending? Number 3 is earning. How well are you earning money to your greatest potential?
Okay.
So really that part of it is really the cash flow planning, and they've got the software already. I'm already a cash flow planner, and it gives you a good reputation, Elijah. That's kind of what it's about, right? How can we bring in the world today, but to the way we want to advance the money system?
Okay.
Number 4 is beliefs.
Okay.
How, what beliefs are holding you back from abundance and prosperity? 5 is knowledge. 6 is risk management. So if you foresee, and it's amazing how it fits the personalities too, because right, what does a 6 do? They look at going forward, but what could go wrong that we need to protect in case it goes wrong.
Okay.
7 is planning. How well do you plan around money? And then 8 is wealth management. And 9 is how in the flow are you with your money? So I wanted to call the program 9 Points of You.
9 points of you.
9 points of you. And then the discovery process and cash flow planning is part of it around money. Then I could do 9 points of you as an inner you map or an outer you map or an inner group map. And then I could do 9 points of you as just an exercise around money beliefs, right?
Okay, this model, this is somebody's model, right?
This is Margaret Smith's.
Okay, Margaret Smith, right?
Yeah, Dr. Margaret Smith. She wrote Money from Fear to Love. And she was a professor, top of her class in Yale, stuff like that. She's a 7 in the Enneagram. And
you're talking with her, eh? Like,
I talked to her a couple weeks ago, and we're a little bit on a different page, Elijah. And here's where she is creating a money, like through algorithms or whatever, a money personality. And she said she finds the Enneagram personality through the Institute isn't totally accurate. So she's trying to get this one going 99% accurate. And I'm just going, let's just get people excited and into it and work with them as they go, right? So
well, I mean, I would just say that, it's not necessarily you're at opposite ends, just each is taking a different perspective, which is necessary. So, I think many ways to top the mountain, and all of them are useful.
They're all useful, you're right. So what she sees as going through financial advisors.
Okay.
So creating a program that can be literally told to financial advisors and sold to them and given to them. And to me, I don't know, it's my belief. To me, it'll take a little longer to get through those people because I've worked in this industry for 32 years. It'll take a little longer to get through those people than just making it more general, I guess is kind of the word I want to use, but not really.
Okay, I'm going to quickly add another model in here for you.
Okay.
And this is kind of the same in alignment with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but a little bit different. And the 7 paths, I don't know if I've shared this one with you, 7 paths.
No.
Okay, so at the bottom, you have the path of suffering.
Oh, at the bottom?
Yeah, if you draw another map.
Okay.
And you have the path of suffering, and then above that you have the path of awakening.
Okay.
Above that you have the path of healing.
Mm-hmm.
Above that you have the path of transformation.
Mm-hmm.
Above that you have the path of the archetype.
Oh, yeah.
Above that you have the path of surrender.
Mm-hmm.
And then above that you have the path of service.
Service, okay.
So both you guys
Mm-hmm.
are going to, like every communicator is on one of those paths, and then they're communicating with someone on one of those paths. So if you're, let's say, in the path of service and you're communicating with someone on the path of suffering, that's what you're talking about in terms of when you reach the top, you got to go around and help out the bottom in a sense. So the people that are suffering are in pain. They don't know how to get out. They're trapped. They're basically screwed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so awakening, the next thing is they finally awaken to their own power. Someone helps them out. They get an insight. They get divorced, hit rock bottom. Something occurs, and then they awaken to the fact that they don't have to suffer anymore. But they haven't healed their childhood trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So then at the path of healing, at some point you have to do your own inner healing,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that is, through any modality. But a person on the path of healing is very much into their sort of healing. Like they're not very capable of doing much else.
Right, because they're in their own healing.
Yeah, they may try to. And then once you're doing your healing, at some point you kind of have the big transformation. You actually heal yourself, but it's not always a pretty picture, right? It can be very weird or different. And a lot of people go through spiritual, transformations, and their family and no one else knows what's going on. And so that's happening, I think, all over the planet right now, that people are transforming from the old paradigm to the new paradigm, and they're like a pupae in the middle. And if they don't have someone around like you guys who can say, you're actually turning into a butterfly, things are okay. People who are going through the path of transformation just need that feedback and support and encouragement to know that they will reach, let's say, the path of the archetype. And that's basically any, it can be the warrior, the king, the queen, the shaman, any ego identification that you are exerting your personality. You don't feel like you need, you're not healing, you're past your point. Like me, I might identify as a wizard.
As a what? Wizard.
As a
right?
Different speaker. What's going on? Yeah, I think I may have to stop and bring you guys back in again. Okay.
And we can just go on the same link.